What's going on, people? So, got some shoes to talk about and all that stuff, right? And the thing about this, I'm actually doing alright as far as getting these reviews out in a fairly decent time. I mean, I've had these for a bit, but I'm just saying, it's my last pickup of the previous quarter, the second quarter, right? And I did get some stuff in yesterday, so I can start on my current quarter videos or whatever, so I'll probably do that tomorrow. But yeah, things are actually moving along fairly decently, so yay for me, I guess. Anyway, so side of the box, all that stuff down there, right? Maybe that's helpful. I don't know. I just put it in there because somebody asked for it a while ago, and I just do that now. But either way, moving on past that, right? I'm gonna try to just jump into this and just knock this thing out real quick, right? Because there's not a whole lot to talk about, and even less reason to talk about it because these shoes are pretty old at this point, and I feel like everyone has already said everything that needs to be said about them. So, right? I mean, right? But either way, let's go ahead and jump on into it. This right here is the Nike Dunk Low SE in the Michelangelo colorway. You may have heard some people erroneously call these the Dusty Olive. Nope, just got off the phone with Nike customer service and they assured me that this is actually the Michelangelo colorway. So there's that for you. Now, we're going to jump on into this starting with the bottom. Down there, what are you looking at? Pretty standard outsole, right? It looks a lot like the Jordan 1s to me. I think there's something slightly different, but regardless, I do like the color of it, so they have that going for them, right? Now let's move on up here, look at the midsole real quick. There's not a whole lot to talk about now, is it, right? Just your standard white, got a little bit of that yellowish kind of stuff going on at the bottom, right? So, it's fine, it is. And now, I'll get you these other two pictures that I often get in here, right? And as you see, there's not much going on here, right? It's one of those things where sometimes I show extra pictures to get people's ideas of if they like it or not, but I don't know, I feel like this is one where even from the first glances before you see any detailed shots, no, it is or it isn't for me. It seems like it's an easy call to make. I saw these at first and I was like, oh yeah, I want that. I'm going to put in a raffle for it. It didn't work out, obviously, because I'm just now getting to it, but hey, whatever. So anyways, let's go ahead and move on and jump into, it's not going to be an actual review where I break down stuff, but I'll talk a little bit about it, right? So material wise, you look at it, you see a lot of suede going on, right? Especially down here in the front piece, right? That's all it is, just different colors. So you got that. And then as you move along to the middle area and all that stuff, I mean, the quality of the materials, it's fine, right? Is it worth a high price tag that these were reselling for? I wouldn't say all that. But if you look at the base price of what they were listed at retail wise, that's pretty close to acceptable, right? But again, I'm just saying it's nothing amazing, right? So don't expect anything amazing. But I do like the way it played out, right? And then as far as the laces go, you probably saw that from one of the pictures or several of the pictures earlier. Kind of just your standard yellowish goldenrod, whatever you want to call this color up there. I don't know, I didn't read the side of the box, but it matches up with, for the most part, what you saw on the bottom of the shoe, so there is that. And then as you look onto the inside, and there's pretty much just plain green, which makes sense, right, with a little bit more yellow in there, so there is that. But otherwise, it's not a whole lot really going on with these, like I said, so I think we can kind of move on past talking about all the visual stuff. Well, almost, because I do have this other pair over here that I want to bring up for a second. I had originally, when I did the unboxing on the YouTube live session, I wasn't going to pull these out. I was just going to say, oh yeah, these blah blah, and then I mentioned them, and I think it was Mr. Lee asked, he's like, hey, can you actually just pull out those purple ones? Because I was normally I don't expect a lot of people to show up, so I just kind of breeze through them and just do what I do. But since somebody asked, and I was like, okay, sure, why not? So I did, and it's a good thing because looking at these, I did not realize at the time that they are different colors. Well, I mean, obviously the one that has purple, right? I'm not an idiot. I'm just talking about the green. I thought the green was closer and that the brown was also closer. No, not even a little bit. I mean, you can see for yourself there. I'll get you some pictures and whatever. And if you're wondering about material wise, the materials on both are the same, right? They both have the same feeling suede. So you got that happening, same types of laces, so there's gonna be that too, right? There's no surprises from one to the other. The only difference being if you happen to be paying more attention earlier on or whatever, and like that review and this one, maybe you notice that one is an SE and one is an SP. What does SP stand for? Well, I'm going to let the comments decide that. And when I say I let the comments decide, whoever's first, I'm going to assume that you're right, and I'll just pin that at the top so everybody else can see it. We'll just do it that way because I'm not looking it up for myself. So there we go. There's that. One thing I will mention before, as far as visual before I jump into personal thoughts pieces, up on the top here you do have that some of that like rough mesh sort of thing. It's kind of, well, it's like the harder stuff. I think they call it ballistic mesh. That's what Logan J refers to it as in a lot of places. So you got that on the front and on the back, right? But either way, so that concludes all that piece. So let's go ahead. I'll tell you how I really feel about these things. Personally, I like these a fair amount, right? I said in the whole other one video that I thought that they would be leather, and like I was slightly disappointed. Like this time around, I knew exactly what I was getting into, and like I even said then, the leather is nice and would have been nice for like wearing these in more situations. But overall, the visual with the suede, I think it just works better, right? And it feels pretty decent. So there's that. And I'm also glad that I was able to get these for a little bit under retail, right? So that's always a plus, because I think the retail was like 120 or 130 or something like that, and I put in a bid on StockX for 115. So that made these a little bit better too, right? Though those extra fees kind of take it up quite a bit, but either way, I'm just saying I paid under what I thought I might have to pay, and ended up with something that I like even more than I originally thought I would like it, because for some reason these just work for me. I wish they were more comfortable. There is that piece of it. I guess an insole could fix that, but I don't do all that. I just leave things as they are. But all in all, I am totally on board with how this particular release or whatever the shoe played out. So I've got no complaints for you, which is not super common for me, because usually I have something that I don't like, but this time around I just don't. So there is that, right? You would probably think that, well, this guy should sound a little more happy about this thing if he likes it so much. I don't have a lot of emotional variance, you know, as far as like going down or going up. No, it's kind of just sits right here in the middle. But either way, so there's that. And one thing, like I just kind of said, I'll just say this again. These did come from StockX, right? Got the little X thing going on over there. Should have turned that around before the video, but hey, whatever. So you got that happening. I have spoken pretty deeply on my thoughts on StockX. I will save you the re-ranting on it, because I made a nice little video about it. Went up on Sunday. Go ahead and check that out if you care to hear some thoughts. But if you want to hear some thoughts on sizing and comfort or whatever, stay right here and we can knock that out. Sizing wise, right? I bought these in a 9.5 because the other dunks that I have are also a 9.5, and that's been working out all right. And here it played out exactly how I expected it to, so no complaints there, right? I would say, personally speaking, that it is a true to size fit. However, here's the thing about this, right? I noticed earlier that these right here, 9.5 dunks, sizing wise, dimensions wise, felt like a size 9 Jordan 1 high, right? And I thought that was kind of weird. So I guess in some ways that means that they might run a little small for some people or whatever. So consider that when you're looking at these or whatever, because I usually go down a half on my Jordan 1s, right? And these already feel like those do. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm glad I didn't take the same thought process, because they look similar, so I would think that they would fit similar. Not quite. Also, on that same sort of note there, they don't feel similar either. They're close. They are. I'm still not going to consider these to be like a comfortable shoe, right? As far as if someone asked me, hey, what's something that I can wear that'll be comfortable? I wouldn't go with these, but they are more comfortable overall to me than the Jordan 1s that I was talking about, right? So you got that going for yourself. But one thing, just to go back a little bit real quick, when I was talking about like the sizing of these, right? And I'm saying it works for me, but you don't have a whole lot of space in that toe box region, right? So if you're one of those like larger footed people or whatever, you may want to consider going up just a little bit, because again, not as much room going on down in there. So that's just something to think about. But there are a lot of dunk videos out there to watch, and a lot of people to listen to that have a lot more understanding of these than I do. I have this pair and this pair. Oh, I do have that other pair too, that yellow pair. But I don't wear any of these very often, so you might want to look to somebody who wears stuff like this regularly, because their opinion would probably be like a little more valuable. But just to drive home the point that I was saying, now that the on-feet clips and whatnot should be out of the way, this is what I was talking about earlier, right? This is Jordan 1 highs, the yellow toe or the taxi, depending on who you ask. So I was just saying, like, when I put these things on, given that this is a 9 and this is a 9.5, you would kind of expect them to feel a little different, like dimensions, fit-wise, whatever. But no, they felt the same, which was kind of weird to me. Could be that it's just this pair. I don't know, right? Because again, I only have so many of these things. But I'm just putting it out there as something to think about. From me to you, have a nice rest of your day or rest of your night, whatever it is, wherever you are. I was thinking maybe there's something else I was supposed to say, but I feel like this video has gone on long enough, so I'm just going to end it. Later, people. It was like this on and off throughout the day. Not the best day to break these things out, but yeah, I took the chance. Worked out all right, I guess.